Dear viewer, it is a pleasure to meet you. I'm Angel, and I'm hoping I can inspire a morsel of hope or courage for those who endure an anxious mind or find themselves often stuck in the wheel of self-hate and sabotage.
Hey, I'm Toby, and if you're seeing this, I'm doing a charity event right now, all about
mental health.
We're talking about mental health
issues.
I'm going to be talking about mental health today.
Mental health and my experiences with my mental health over the years.
Where the hell do I even start?
My car won't start, I can't afford to fix it. I'll sing this song and post it somewhere. Pray to God that someone clicks and here you are.
mental health is an incredibly broad topic, and lots of people struggle with lots of different things.
I could barely get any sleep.
Sometime in kindergarten, I had developed trichotillomania. It's a mental compulsive disorder that causes the person to compulsively rip out their hair.
I don't want to go in full detail, but I lost 2 of my precious childhood pets this year.
My brain often tells me all the time that I am overreacting and that I am not worth the things that I do. And despite logically knowing that my brain is wrong, I can't help but feel that it's right. And I get very depressed about it.
Depression, social anxiety, general anxiety, really horrible self-esteem issues.
My head's fucked up, I don't know how to fix it. Every day's an uphill battle. I've tried it all and nothing sticks. I try so hard to be a better me, but I'm not him today.
From a young age, I realised that I struggle speaking to people and fitting in with the crowd.
I know what loneliness is and what it feels like and how hard it can be to really shake off.
It just looks like this. I'm just rotting in bed.
I was a selective mute for a number of years during my childhood. My feelings and fears fuel so much of my anxiety, and therefore my self-hate. My mind is always out to get me, and for so long I had no idea why.
In fact, it's estimated that 1 in 5 US citizens deal with at least one mental health condition. So with such a huge and ongoing problem, how do we go about, if not solving it, then improving it? Obviously, I'm no professional, and I don't have all the answers. But what I can do is help spread awareness of the fact that we're living in a mental health crisis right now. Because the first step to bettering our mental health is to There are many different metaphors for how mental health works. I think the best parallel would be physical health, because it gets 2 major points across. Firstly, it's not always noticeable straight away.
With physical exercise and exertion, we have to rest our bodies, but the same can go for mental health and mental exhaustion as well.
Like a hairline fracture in the leg that gets worse with each step.
And I never left the house because I had no reason to. I stopped showering, stopped brushing my teeth. I stopped caring. It didn't matter anymore. It was just a downward spiral constantly.
My cycle of self-hate and sabotage stems from my hate of my anxiety, my feelings, from my enormous sensitive heart. With negative circumstances, my desire of independence from my feelings get triggered. And when I can't change that and inevitably get hurt by myself or from others, I then resent myself, tell myself the worst possible things you can ever tell anyone. I constantly get in my own way and bring myself down.
And secondly, even when we do notice the problems, it's important to take those problems very seriously. It's super easy to say,
It's not that bad.
but by the time it is that bad, it's a lot harder to manage, because you're no longer dealing with just 1 or 2 problems, but an entire plethora of symptoms.
Never compare your own mental health or your situation to some other people, because I've seen people not reach out because they were like, oh, but this person has it worse. If you need a bit of help, if you need a bit of assistance in your life, just go for it. It doesn't matter. Everyone lives their life in a different way. Just go for it. If it can improve your life quality, then why not do it?
The first step is to figure yourself out. Find your cycle of self-abuse when it comes to your anxiety and the domino effect that it has on you.
So now it's time for the next chapter.
Don't ever say it's over if I'm breathing. Racing to the moonlight and I'm speeding. I'm heading to the stars, ready to go far.
I specifically didn't name this chapter Solutions because there are definitely things that are completely outside of our control, but there are always ways to improve your situation and your relationships.
The thing that's been helping me out with mental health is always looking for a new project or look for a new hobby. Do something refreshing. Get out of that depressing cycle. And if hobbies aren't really a thing for you, nothing wrong with a bit of good music. Like even just try something new. Once again, break that cycle. Try something new.
Small ways of improving your lifestyle can have more effects than you realize.
If you're like, oh, I feel like this was a terrible stream, take some time, review it, and be like, oh, okay, maybe I should fix this, maybe I should try this, oh, maybe I can ask this person to help me out, maybe they have some ideas of how I could spruce this up. Don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it. If you need help with like editing, you can always ask friends. If you need help with like coming up with ideas, people are more than happy usually to brainstorm. If you need help with mental health, there's so many resources out there that can help you.
And I know not everyone has a really good support system out there, but I find also journaling. I did that a lot when I was by myself. Journaling, writing out exactly the feelings I was feeling and describing them helped me realize that they weren't so powerful. The more I wrote about them, the less power that they had over me. And they really are just thoughts sometimes. They can hold so much power over us, but all you gotta do is look at those thoughts, those terrible, terrible thoughts, and say no.
Please be kinder to yourself, no matter what help you get, and no matter how many friends you have around you. Some days you're gonna be the only one you have. If you love that person and if you enjoy their company, then it's gonna make things so much easier for you in the long run.
Recently, I have been giving myself a task where every single time I go out, I say something that's on my mind to a stranger or someone that I'm not fully comfortable with. I've had some positive responses and some negative responses, but at the end of the day, I'm back at home and it's all in the past. Every reaction that someone makes towards what you do is temporary, and I can basically guarantee that that person is not going to be thinking about the specific conversation that I had with them. The key to being happy is feeling comfortable in your own skin and accepting the fact that how you act or how you look is a part of you and you need to love yourself for it. Practice ways to become more confident. I'm not saying to change who you are. All I'm saying is learn how to show off who you are without the restraints of other people's mindsets.
Find those moments and find the courage to take advantage of them. Tell your friends you miss them. Reach out to that person you were thinking of saying hello to. Join those events that you thought might just be better off without you.
And when I feel anxious, it's a beautiful sign that I'm alive and an opportunity for me to build a relationship with that anxiety, to comfort it rather than let it consume me. And when my mind is being hateful towards me, I will weather the storm and find comfort in people who can love me more than I can love myself in that moment.
Again, I'm no expert and neither is anyone else in this video. All of this advice is really generalized. It's still good advice, don't get me wrong, but everyone's mental health requires a level of care and advice tailored to them. That being said, I can say with confidence that one of the biggest obstacles we face along these journeys are ourselves. Like a battle with a non-Euclidean foe, we end up getting in the way in ways we don't even anticipate. Whether that be lack of motivation or self-doubt or even just getting distracted and forgetting to take care of ourselves. And sometimes we lose those battles, but sometimes we don't even try because we're afraid of It's so easy for one bad day to ruin everything, because again, mental health is a downward spiral. But one bad moment, one bad day doesn't dictate the rest of your life. There's a saying that I really like.
Progress is not linear.
Growth is not in a straight line.
We all fall sometimes. What's important is that you get back up.
I'm not gonna lie, sometimes even when you do try your best, luck just isn't on your side. But no one can be unlucky forever.
Like, as long as you're slowly building it up, there's even if you have days where it just goes down for a little bit. Yeah, just slowly try to build up.
And even if you aren't aware of it, you will learn from your failures.
Obviously, this didn't happen overnight. It was years of experiences and being much nicer to myself.
Things might be bad, but things won't stay bad forever.
Tomorrow is another day for a better future, and just take a deep breath, acknowledge your feelings. They are real, they are valid, they deserve to be heard, but they cannot control you.
I'm no therapist, but I have been working with one for the past few years very seriously, and I wouldn't have come this far without all the effort I put in to mending my mental health. It is a fight. It is hard. But, oh, am I a stubborn bitch that doesn't like to lose, let me tell you. It's a fight worth fighting.
Some days, when everything is just too much and you feel incapable of doing anything, take a moment to remember the beautiful days that have happened. Even when you were struggling, and even when everything seems to be falling apart, it's not always going to be falling apart. Days will get better. So far, each and every one of you have survived your worst days, and you are still here. So, even in the moment, even when it seems overwhelming, and even if it seems like you just cannot continue forward, you can. And I believe in you. I know you can do it. And it's going to be all right.
You can do it. You can do great things. Good luck out there, and with much love and sincerity, Angel.
Not only is progress not linear, it's also really hard to quantify. If you take a picture of yourself every single day, you won't notice any change, but if you look back a year or two ago, you look completely different. The same goes for mental health. If you learn how to change little by little, eventually you'll get to where you want to be. So now I encourage you to come along for these 12 days of progress. And to do that, we need to go back through the chapters. Chapter 1, we need to identify a problem. I'm not talking about an entire disorder. If you have anxiety, maybe start off with a simple fear that you have. If you have depression, maybe start off with a coping mechanism. Chapter 2, progress. Find ways to change small things that eventually will build up to a better quality of life. Then chapter 3, when things eventually go wrong, because they will. Find ways to cope with that. And finally, chapter 4,